환영합니다. Welcome to K-Culture Dive, where we dive deeper into the heart of Korean culture with K-entertainment issues, AI culture news, and today our K-Culture Issue segment, where we look into K-cinema prospects for this year. And I'm your host, Kwon So-hwa. Let's dive in. Joining me this Friday is our co-host, Walter Lee. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa. Happy Friday, and happy Friday to all of our viewers watching. I'm Walter Lee, here to co-host next to Soa and give you the latest in Korean entertainment.
Walter, I've got a question for you before we start. If one of the Culinary Class Wars chefs would cook for you and your family, who would you choose?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to say, is from the season 1 okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Edward Lee, because I've watched many things about him and he's got so many intricate and fascinating creations that look very tasty. So, but what about you, Sol?
Well, I do agree with you. I love Chef Edward Lee as well. I haven't been able to try some of his food yet, but let me refer to season 2 then. I would love to try some dishes by Sunjae Snim or Venerable Sunjae, because I was intrigued by how she can amplify the tastes of the ingredients that she uses. And that is why I would have loved to follow our reporter Park Gun-woo to his coverage. And we are going to introduce his report now. So, in a world of fast processed food, Korean temple cuisine takes a slower path. And Buddhist monk Venerable Sunjae, one of the viewers' favorites on the survival cooking show Culinary Class Wars Season 2, shares a philosophy where food becomes medicine. Our culture correspondent Park Gun-woo met her to learn more.
Venerable Sunjae, a Buddhist monk and contestant on the global Netflix hit Culinary Class Wars, says temple food healed the liver disease that had pushed her to the brink of death.
Temple food traditionally excludes ingredients like garlic and focuses on balance to promote long and healthy lives. This wisdom resonates with people overseas, making it appealing to global tastes.
When preparing side dishes, homegrown ingredients that have endured harsh weather and intentionally limited watering are chosen, believing they hold richer nutrients. From fresh fruit to Napa cabbage, zucchini and winter spinach, every ingredient is treated with gratitude and nothing is wasted.
You shouldn't throw away even a single leaf. Someone who doesn't understand the value of agriculture cannot truly be a practitioner.
As much as possible is kept, and even the water to blanch vegetables is reused, believing every part carries life.
People who cook are doctors, and that's why cooking is difficult. They must save not only the human body, but the life of nature as well, because we live only when nature lives.
Scooping out zucchinis with a spoon, a method she says helps braise them more evenly, was another small but meaningful lesson. What's served up are stir-fried walnuts glazed with traditional Korean syrup, tofu braised in soy sauce aged for over 6 decades, white kimchi made from homegrown cabbage, and many more. Now it's time to eat, but with rituals. Beginning with the sound of Sunjae's traditional Korean Buddhist wooden clapper, bowls are cleansed with water, and only as much food as can be eaten should be taken, as leaving leftovers is strictly avoided. The meal can take over an hour as you keep praying to appreciate the food served on the table.
I offer a prayer of gratitude to my ancestors, to everyone whose efforts brought this food to me, and to the lives of nature. A cabbage does not grow on its own. It holds the soil, water, wind, and sunlight within it. Through that gratitude, I reflect inward on all the connections that made my life possible.
네, 말씀하신 것처럼 여러 가지 한식의 어떤 지혜 같은 게 많이 담겨져 있고 그 세계로 뻗어나가는 데 있어서 그럼 스님의 역할은 앞으로 어떤 게 있다고 보십니까?
Though our ancestors didn't use scientific or medical terms and spoke in symbolic ways, that doesn't mean their wisdom should be ignored. Korean food has long been made with the mindset of medicine. I hope this wisdom is preserved, understood, and shared without losing its roots.
And through food, a universal language, Venerable Sunjae emphasizes the importance of living in peace, not only with one another, but with all forms of life, including the earth, water, wind, and sunlight. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
And now, from a celebrity Buddhist monk to other celebrity news, time for K-Enter with Walter Lee. And Walter, we are going to start off with a Korean actress and a huge success or achievement in Japan.
That's correct, Soa. So big news coming out of Japan, where Shim Eun-kyung is once again making history. It was confirmed on Friday that the actress had won the Best Actress at the 99th Kinema Junbo Awards, one of Japan's most prestigious film honors for her performance in the Japanese film Two Seasons, Two Strangers, or 여행과 나날. The win marks a major milestone in Japanese cinema for Shim. Speaking to the media, she shared that her heartfelt gratitude, saying she was also deeply thankful to receive such a meaningful and respected award. Now, the latest achievement adds to an already groundbreaking career that she has in Japan. Back in 2020, Shim made headlines as the first Korean actor to win Best Actress at the Japan Academy Prize for the movie The Journalist, while also taking home top honors in the Mainichi Film Awards and the Takasaki Film Festival as well.
Well, congrats to her. And next up, Walter, we're going to talk about some exciting news on the heads of major labels that are behind BTS and Stray Kids.
Right, yes, not the heads as in the head of the top power K-pop groups, but their bosses instead. So we're talking about Billboard have revealed on Wednesday that HYBE chairman Bang Si-hyuk and Entertainment founder Park Jin-young have been named on the 2026 Billboard Power 100. Now, the annual list spotlighting the most influential figures in the global music industry. Now, Bang Si-hyuk landed at number 30 in the leaders category, joining HYBE CEO as well Lee Jae-sang and HYBE America chairman and CEO Isaac Lee among the top executives shaping today's music business. And this is actually not Bang's first time on this list, as he has now earned a spot on the Billboard Power 100 a total of 6 times, following previous selections in 2020 as well as 2022 and from there on up until now. Now, over at the JYP office, Park Jin-young also made his mark. He was jointly ranked at number 12 in the multi-sector category alongside JYP Entertainment CEO Jung-uk and also JYP America CEO and Chief Strategy Officer Shin Hyuk-guk. Now, that was highlighting their wide-ranging impact across the music industry.
And last but not least, let's talk about Blackpink. What's the news?
Yes, so I reported recently that they were closing up, and now they have officially closed the chapter on their 7-month world tour called Deadline, ending the journey on a high note in Hong Kong. Now, YG Entertainment confirmed on Wednesday that the group held their final shows of their final Deadline tour from January 24th to January 26th at Kai Tak Stadium. That's in Hong Kong, as I said. The world tour first kicked off all the way back in Goyang near Seoul, South Korea, making the final moments of the tour especially emotional for Blackpink as well as Blink's, their fan base around the world. Blackpink staged an impressive 33 shows across 16 cities worldwide. Along the way, they made history in August by becoming the first female K-pop group to headline London's most iconic stadium, probably, in Wembley Stadium. Now, fresh off their tour, Blackpink are gearing up for their next chapter with the release of their mini album Deadline, scheduled for the 27th of next month. The upcoming release marks their long-awaited comeback, roughly 3.5 years after Born Pink dropped.
Looking forward to that. And thank you very much, Walter, for those updates.
No worries.
Stick around.
Will do.
And now let's turn to our AI anchor, Arang, for more on the culture front. Arang, over to you.
Thanks, Wa. Here's your AI guide to the latest cultural headlines from Korea. Let's begin with our top story. Fortifications built to defend Hanyang, the capital of the Joseon dynasty, are seeking UNESCO World Heritage status, with the Korea Heritage Service having submitted a nomination dossier for the capital fortifications of Hanyang. UNESCO and its advisory body, the International Council on Monuments and Sites, will assess the site's historical and cultural value and carry out an on-site inspection. A final decision is due at the World Heritage Committee meeting set to be held in July of next year. If approved, the capital fortifications of Hanyang would become Korea's 18th UNESCO World Heritage Site. To mark the 100th anniversary of the designation of Hangul Day, a series of exhibitions and cultural events celebrating the Korean alphabet will be held throughout the year. In May, the National Hangul Museum will host a special exhibition themed around Hangul play, highlighting its visual creativity and diverse use. On May 15th, the birthday of King Sejong, who created Hangul, hands-on programs will be held in and around Gyeongbokgung Palace. On Hangul Day on October 9th, a large-scale Hangul festival is set to take place at Gwanghwamun Square with additional exhibitions in October and November focusing on the history and significance of the national holiday. The National Hangul Museum also plans to expand Hangul education programs for foreign visitors. South Korea's National Assembly has passed a bill introducing an emergency blocking system to curb the circulation of illegal online content. Under the revised Copyright Act, authorities will be able to order domestic network operators to block access to overseas-based websites distributing pirated content. The revision also allows courts to award punitive damages of up to 5 times actual losses in cases of deliberate and repeated infringement. Lawmakers also approved a bill to boost the crackdown on ticket scalping, enabling authorities to crack down on ticket resales at inflated prices, even without the use of automated macro programs. That's all from me. Turning now to a quick look at more K-culture stories making headlines today.
Last year, not a single Korean film reached the 10 million viewer mark. But with the beginning of the new year, movie theaters are once again welcoming a lineup of highly anticipated releases, from big budget productions to ambitious mid and low budget projects as well. Today, we'll take a closer look at what lies ahead for the industry in 2026 with film critic Piers Conran, who is now connected with us. Hello, Piers.
Hello, Piers.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Now, first and foremost, how would you describe the overall mood in Korean cinema at the beginning of this year?
Well, I have to be honest, it's not great. It's obviously quite negative. People are quite pessimistic at the moment. The numbers have been very challenging for years now, since the onset of the pandemic, of course. But then, unlike other markets which have had somewhat robust recoveries over the past few years, Korea has found that to be a bit of a challenge. Things were on the upswing, and then we had, I think, in 2024, we had 71 million tickets sold to local films, which was quite encouraging. But then last year, that dropped to 43, which is a huge drop, and that's compared to the last year before the pandemic, last full year before the pandemic, 2019, which had 116 million tickets for local films. So we're barely over a third of that, and this is very challenging. And so this is because of streaming, obviously, for a few years. It's because the people are not coming back to theaters. There's also just the challenge to the industry being posed by AI, and a lot of people are just very, very concerned about their futures. There are companies that are disappearing. A lot of people I speak to and know have colleagues who have just moved away from the film industry entirely, and this is quite normal to be hearing these days. However, these numbers don't tell the full story, because there is a bit of a silver lining in that there have been a number of films that have reach profitability, and that's because they've had lower costs and thus lower break-even points. And this is kind of a trend we're seeing now of films that are kind of being made, smaller films that are being made that are finding an easier path to profitability. So films like My Daughter's a Zombie last year, or even Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, The Match, Noise, The Ugly. These are all films that had an easier going of getting to that break-even point.
Mm-hmm. And then let's look a little bit at the early box office numbers, which show that romance films are doing pretty good, like Once We Were Us and Even If This Love Disappears Tonight, one of my favorites. So why do you think our romance movie is currently resonating so well with the audience?
I mean, having romance films do well in Korean cinema is certainly nothing new. You go back to the 90s, the 2000s, films like Contact, Promise, My Sassy Girl. These have long been the backbone of the industry, and these are films that are not very expensive to produce. They have, relatively small casts, obviously requiring two main stars to prop them up, and these are kind of familiar and relatable stories. And romance films have always been made. Why are these two doing so well in particular? I would say it's just down to the films themselves. People have been responding to these viewers. These are more modest productions, but they struck a chord with viewers rather than open big on the back of big effects and big stars. They have kind of modest openings at the box office, but then the audiences that do go out for them are impressed, they're touched, and they talk to their friends, they talk to their family, they talk about it online, and then suddenly these films kind of stick around for weeks and weeks, and they have they don't drop off very much, and they find a very steady path to profitability, and this is very encouraging. So it's the films themselves that are speaking to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And The King's Warden, set for release in early February, tells the story of King Dan-jong and the people he meets during his exile. It's already being actually mentioned as a potential 10 million viewer contender this year. What do you think could draw audiences in, and do you see a blockbuster potential?
Well, I was fortunate to see this film a few days ago. I enjoyed it very much. And this, of course, is so it's a period drama about, of course, King Dan-jong, a deposed king in the 15th century who's exiled, sent to a remote village where he kind of strikes up a friendship with the wily village chief played by Yoo Hae-jin, who is one of the few stars who has maintained his box office power even in the pandemic era. He was in Yadang the Snake, Snitch last year, one of the few relatively big hits last year. So having his presence there is encouraging. The quality of the film kind of speaks for itself. I think this is very much targeted at family audiences, which is, of course, is important for a holiday period. It has comedy, it has drama, it has thrills, and it's a really quite an appealing package. It has I'm curious how people will respond to it, because it has a somewhat unusual conclusion, shall we say, but people who know about the story before going into it will be aware of that. So I wonder how many people are fully aware of what the whole story is. Will it hit 10 million? I think it's kind of a fool's errand to predict that anything can hit 10 million these days. Not that it can't happen, but I certainly think it will easily pass its break-even point, which is 2.6 million viewers, I believe. So and I do think it's going to do well. Now, of course, this Lunar New Year, it's not the only film being released, and in years past, that was normal to have several big films contending for the large holiday audiences, whether Lunar New Year or summer holidays or Chuseok. But from the last couple of years, there have been very few big films coming out for these holidays, and people don't feel that the market has a space for two films to perform well. But now we have the King's Award, and we also have Human, this new action spy thriller from Lee Seung-wan. This looks like a pretty kind of high octane and fun, enjoyable thriller with Jo In-sung in the lead, very popular big name. However, it is a bigger film. It costs, or rather, the break-even point for that will be 4 million viewers, so that'll be a bit more challenging for that. But the industry is very keen to see if not one but two films, two big films, can find their way to profitability this year.
And we are keen to watch those as well. And now, Piers, let's talk about Project Y, which was recently released. And this one drew early attention by winning the Best Film Award at the 10th London East Asia Film Festival. So what are your thoughts on Korean films' recognition in overseas markets?
I think that foreign viewers may be surprised to learn that Korean films are struggling so much domestically, because they've never been so visible internationally. Project Y certainly is an example of that. After its premiere at Busan, it is being kind of received well at some festivals, and thanks to Han So-gi and Jung Jun-so, the stars of the film, very well known internationally, one expects that it will kind of keep garnering a response internationally. But there have been a lot of other films in the last year that have been prominent overseas. Of course, Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, following its debut at the Venice Film Festival, has been very, very prominent on the awards circuit in North America. It got 3 nominations at the Golden Globes, dozens of other nominations from other critics groups, and so forth. It's also been, now it's in theaters in America. It's doing very well. It's getting close to $10 million in America, which is really very rare for a foreign language film to achieve in America, so that's very encouraging, and that's in addition to strong box office returns in countries like the UK and Italy. The film, which actually wasn't that cheap to produce, was able to pass its break-even point even before it opened in theaters in Korea, thanks to all its strong foreign pre-sales. And there are lots of other films. Yoon Ga-eun's indie film The World of Love, after premiering at Toronto last year, terrific film, great response in festivals, great response in Korea, where it's been a rare hit as an indie film, and has just opened in Hong Kong, I believe, theatrically, and I think will continue to play around for months. But even, Netflix as well. We've got To the Great Flood, which has been performing extremely well since its Christmas opening last year. It now has 81 million viewers on Netflix, and that's the 7th most viewed foreign language title on Netflix. So quite a range of films still doing well internationally, if not always at home.
That is good to hear. Now, Piers, we have time for one more question. It's going to be a kind of combination here. So are there any other films to look out for in the rest of the year? And do you think there is a chance to achieve the 10 million admission mark this year?
To the 10 million mark points, I would say I kind of hope that the sort of obsession with hitting the 10 million mark will disappear, because I think it's an unrealistic benchmark. We've been lucky to see a lot of films pass that, but for that to happen these days, it's not a guarantee, and it doesn't need to happen. Films are going to be produced on lower scales, I think, in the future, and won't need to come anywhere close to that to make money. That said, there is one film this year that really needs to hit $10 million to make money, and that's Hope, the new film by Na Hong-jin, which is a very, very expensive production. Everyone's very excited for it. We all love Na Hong-jin. We're very curious about what he's done. It's a big sci-fi film set in Korea. It has Hwang Jung-min, local star, and Hoyeon, but it also has Hollywood stars like Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander. But it costs apparently an obscene amount of money, and for it to make money, it will really need to do extremely well. And it's looking at everyone else kind of, reining in their costs. This one kind of really stands out as an outlier as being far more expensive than other films being made right now. I hope it does well. I certainly am very excited to see it, but it's going to be really challenging for that. There are other films, of course. There's Assassins, which is a new film about an assassination attempt on Park Chung-hee in 1974. Which I expect will hope to replicate the success of films like 12/12 The Day. It features Yoo Hae-jin again, also Lee Min-ho and Park Hae-il. Quite looking forward to that. It's also Lee Chang-dong's film Possible Love. Now that's a Netflix title, so it won't be in theaters, but I expect we'll see it at the Venice Film Festival later this year. And that's something that a lot of people are very, very excited to check out later this year.
All right, Piers. Well, listening from what we hear from you, we are also getting more excitement for this year in Korean cinema. So let's do hope that we're going to see some revitalization in 2026. Thank you very much for connecting with us today.
Thank you, Piers.
Thanks very much for having me. I certainly hope it'll be a good year for Korean cinema.
Thank you. And thank you, Walter. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for watching and your interest in everything K-Culture. K-Culture Dive will be back on Monday, 2 p.m. Korea time.